Chapter 47. Eastern Gate. In the brisk chill of early spring, Old Wu was bundled up in his cotton coat and sitting wearily on a weathered grayish-yellow wooden chair. The banner of his tavern, which had once fluttered proudly in the cold wind, now hung limply, much like a fatigued pond loach. Business should be decent today. Yu State, situated in the south, had a hot and humid climate. Winter snow was a rare occurrence, with last year's heavy snowfall being an exceptionally unusual event. The thick snow rendered the entire gully road impassable for carriages and horses, leaving Old Wu with only 3 groups of patrons all winter. Now, with spring ushering in lingering chills, it was the perfect weather for a drink. Leaning lazily against the creaking wooden chair, Old Wu squinted out the window and spotted a cloud of yellow dust on the distant road. He rose hastily, his limp noticeable as he shuffled to the doorway, calling out with renewed vigor, "Wine, mutton, meat." Observing a horse carriage slowing to a stop before his establishment, he quickly added, "Hello there. Our humble shop offers strong wine and a variety of refreshing, tangy side dishes." As the carriage curtain parted, 2 men in fur coats alighted. The first man to alight was scarcely 17 years of age. He had a certain glow to his handsome, youthful features and carried a long saber. He smiled as he gazed toward the tavern. His companion appeared to be in his mid-20s with a valuable sword hanging at his waist. He was a rather good-looking man with intense eyes that were fixed on Old Wu with a certain cautiousness. He must be the guardian of that young man he's escorting. He looks rather seasoned and very alert to his surroundings. Judging by the sword he carried, both of them must come from affluent clans. "Seems like I'll be able to earn a lot today." Sensing an opportunity, Old Wu greeted them with an obsequious smile as he ushered them inside. "Please, gentlemen, come in. Our tavern's signature snowflake wine is a renowned delicacy in these parts." Turning his head around, he called loudly, "We have patrons." As the 2 men settled at a table, 2 others hurriedly descended the stairs, bowing and standing behind Old Wu. "A bottle of snowflake wine and a few side dishes," Yuan Wankai ordered, setting his long saber aside. Observing the old man's prompt instructions to his staff, he turned to Li Tongyao with enthusiasm and happily explained, "This snowflake wine is made by boiling thinly sliced mutton in top-quality wine until it becomes soft. The meat is then ground into a smooth paste. To enhance the flavors, mutton bone marrow and kidney fat are melted in a pot and mixed with the meat paste, which is soaked in warm wine to make an indulgent drink." He gulped, then confided, "I first tried it here 5 years ago with another brother in my clan and could never forget the taste. I've tried countless dishes back at home since, but nothing compares to this." Li Tongya, who was feeling weary from days of travel and dry meals accompanied by cold water, found his appetite piqued by the description, eagerly anticipating the feast. As they conversed, a noisy clamor from outside interrupted them. A group of men dressed in cotton staggered in, taking their seats while shouting, "Old Wu, bring out some wine. Ah, you're here. Welcome." Old Wu quickly approached them with a smile, ingratiating himself. "This spring's chill is no joke. We've been standing guard at the Eastern Gate all night, and our balls were nearly frozen off. We rushed here for a warm drink as soon as it was time for a shift change." The burly leader of the group chuckled heartily and continued, "I've got no idea what happened these days, but the road is under such strict watch by people sent by the clans in the prefecture. Birds up in the trees don't even dare to chirp." Another man at the table casually chimed in, "Oh, get used to it, Big Tiger. This happens every few years. Just wait it out, it'll ease up soon enough." Those prominent clans in the prefecture love tightening their grip every now and then. Wan Yuankai listened to the loud conversation for a while, then leaned toward Li Tongya and whispered, "We must be near the cloud-crowned peak. I'm guessing those men serve the Xiao family." Li Tongya nudatu furi. Xiao Yuanxi's face suddenly came to his mind, and he somehow had a positive impression on these local men. Just then, a waiter brought over a hot bottle of wine, some small side dishes, and a bowl of creamy white mutton paste. Wan Kai eagerly picked up a spoon and scooped some of the paste in his bowl, then poured the hot wine over it. The rich aroma of mutton immediately filled the air. Big Tiger, the burly man, inhaled deeply. His eyes immediately lit up as he exclaimed, "That smells amazing. It must be the famous snowflake wine." Ignoring Big Tiger's comment, Wan Yuankai savored a mouthful of the delight, then gestured for Li Tongya to try some. With a polite nod and smile to the local men, Li Tongya filled his own bowl and then brought his spoon into his mouth. A blend of wine and mutton flavors immediately exploded on his palate. Before he realized it, he had emptied his bowl. "It's truly a delightful taste," he remarked with a chuckle. Big Tiger, feeling ignored, awkwardly curled his lips and grumbled, "Must be nice to have money to burn." His envious gaze lingered on the next table's feast as he reluctantly turned back to converse with his companions. Wan Yuankai had barely sipped a few mouthfuls of the snowflake wine when a commotion at the entrance caught his attention. That a group of people clustered around a young man, dressed in lavish brocade and fur, making their way into the inn. "Clan brother, don't judge this tavern by its shabby appearance. It serves some of the finest snowflake wine on this road. Given the chilly solitude of these mountainous outskirts, it's the only spot around that offers us a bit of respite. The person speaking ingratiatingly was a well-dressed man in his mid-30s, addressing the young man in a manner that seemed rather comical, given their apparent age difference. The young man merely gave a non-committal hum in response. Dressed in pristine white fox fur with a golden pouch tied around his waist, the lavishly dressed man had sharp eyes that accentuated his refined features. On the other hand, Big Tiger suddenly grew anxious. Oh no, why is the manager of the main family here? He quickly lowered his head along with the other men seated at his table, trying to be as inconspicuous as possible. No one dared to breathe a word. That lavishly dressed man must be someone from the sect. Even the haughty manager acts like an obedient dog in his presence. Big Tiger quietly surmised. He sneaked a glance at the newcomer stationed at the eastern gate, recognizing a couple of them as prominent figures among the Shao family soldiers. They stood respectfully behind the manager, not daring to even speak a word. The lavishly dressed young man frowned slightly at the tavern's modest setting, causing the middle-aged manager to lower his head in a nervous silence. The manager was formulating the right words to address the situation, but was caught off guard when the young man in front of him unexpectedly let out a laugh. This sudden change in demeanor left the manager momentarily stunned and visibly shaken. This man, possessing a spiritual orifice and having embarked on the path of immortality, is known for his arrogance and overbearing nature. During my tenure of over 10 days guarding the Eastern Gate, I have never once seen him show a smile. I fear that his laughter is not one out of joy but anger. The lavishly dressed young man cupped his fist respectfully instead and said with a friendly smile, "What a pleasant surprise it is to find fellow Taoists in such a remote tavern." Chapter 48. Shao Yongling, the middle-aged manager's mind went blank. He lifted his head in confusion, only to be greeted by the sight of two plainly dressed men in fur coats, sharing drinks in the humble tavern. To his astonishment, his usually arrogant and overbearing clan brother stood by respectfully. "You've got a sharp eye, fellow Taoist," Wan Yuankai exclaimed with a warm smile, then asked, "Why don't you join us for a few drinks?" "That would be delightful," the lavishly dressed youth responded, seating himself casually on a rickety wooden stool. The chair creaked under his weight, as if threatening to collapse, causing the middle-aged manager to tense up. "Greetings, fellow Taoists. I'm Shao Yongling from the Shao family of Xia Prefecture, under the governance of Azure Pond." The youth introduced himself with a polite smile, gratefully accepting a wine bowl from Li Tongya before asking, "And you are?" "Wan Yuankai from the Wan family of Mount Huaqian, under the governance of Azure Pond." "Li Tongya from the Li family of Lijing Village, under the governance of Azure Pond." Seeing Shao Yongling's friendliness, the two men politely returned his greeting and introduced themselves. Shao Yongling's expression remained unchanged when Wan Yuankai introduced himself, because he had heard of the Wan family on Mount Huqian. However, he seemed genuinely surprised when he heard about the Li family from Lijing Village. "Is it the same Li family from the Lijing Village located by Moongaze Lake?" he asked. "Yes. Although my family only recently embarked on the path of immortality, I'm honored that our modest lineage has reached the ears of such a distinguished family as yours," Li Tongya replied, concealing his surprise behind a calm demeanor. Reflecting on this unexpected revelation, he found himself pondering about Shao Yuanci. Wan Yuankai, feeling somewhat awkward, internally mused, "It's understandable that the powerful Shao family would overlook my Wan family, but it's quite intriguing that the Li family, who have only recently embarked on their immortal journey, have already caught the attention of the Shao family." Shao Yongling chuckled lightly and then explained politely, "Shao Yuanci of Qing Sui Peak is my uncle. Since both our families are on Qing Sui Peak, it's only natural we've heard of each other." "Oh, so that's how it is," Wan Yuankai said, his heart skipping a beat as he recalled the Li family had a member in the Azure Pond sect. Mixed feelings arose, but then he turned to Shao Yongling and praised, "It's quite remarkable that you have reached the Jade capital stage at such a young age, fellow Taoist." Shao Yongling awkwardly fumbled over his words in response. "I'm merely at the profound scenery stage. My status as a direct descendant of the Shao family has granted me access to treasures that can discern others' cultivation, so I identified both of yours not due to the spiritual sense of the Jade capital chakra. My apologies for assuming." Wan Yuankai cupped his fist and replied, feeling slightly embarrassed. Shao Yongling dismissed the apology with a wave and shifted the conversation. "Both of you are on your way to submit the tributes, I presume?" "Indeed." Li Tongya and Wan Yuankai exchanged glances, both feeling a sense of amusement at Shao Yongling's chatty demeanor as they prepared to listen to what he had to share. The entire area from Moongaze Lake to Lixia County falls under the governance of the Moon Lake Peak. Currently, only 4 disciples remain in Moon Lake Peak. "Do you know who's been assigned as the envoy to collect the tributes?" "We're not sure. It's Ning Wan, the fairy of Autumn Lake," Shao Yongling announced triumphantly. Noticing the confusion on the two men's faces, he elaborated, Ningguan refined pine forest wind into qi and excels in formation arts. At only 24, she's already reached the 8th layer of the qi cultivation realm. She's rumored to be extraordinarily beautiful and usually keeps to herself. It's rare for her to take on such tasks unless the other disciples on the peak are occupied. Xiao Yongling went on and on with the explanations, but suddenly paused, then looked at Wan Yuankai suspiciously, asking, "Speaking of formation arts, does your Wan family have a legacy in this area?" The Wan family of Huaqian rings a bell for me. Yes. Wan Yuankai, who had been waiting for an opportunity to share, lit up at the chance and proudly explained, "My Wan family once had a renowned formation master, Wan Huaqian, over 200 years ago. In fact, Mount Huaqian was named in his honor." "I see." Xiao Yongling nodded, then added, "I recall reading about Wan Huaqian in our family's cultivation history. There's speculation that he inherited skills from a fallen cultivator after a great battle." Li Tongya, keen to keep the conversation on topic and not drift back to Ningguan's allure, quickly asked, "Could you tell us more about this great battle?" Xiao Yongling nodded and pondered for a moment before sharing. "There isn't much detailed information about that battle in our clan records. It said that someone under the banner of an upper sect known as Moonlight Origin Mansion attempted to force all 3 sects and 10 gates into submission. This incited the ire of the 3 sects, leading to a fierce conflict. The upstart met his end at Moongaze Lake." "What audacity," Wan Yuankai remarked, visibly impressed by the boldness of such an individual. "That battle was catastrophic. It altered the course of rivers and disrupted the earth veins. The 3 sects lost 15 cultivators in the Foundation Establishment realm and numerous in the Qi cultivation realm. 2 exalted cultivators in the Purple Mansion realm also perished. By the end of it, only 7 of the 10 gates remained." Xiao Yongling explained. I Tongya sighed, envisioning the dramatic scene from 3 centuries ago. Wan Yuankai sighed and said, "Those in the Purple Mansion realm have a lifespan of 5 centuries. It must have taken immense effort and dedication to reach that realm. Why do they choose to fight in deadly battles rather than enjoy their hard-earned long lives? Ha! Us minor cultivators will never be able to fathom the lives of such exalted beings. We can only hope to reach the Qi cultivation realm in our lifetime." Xiao Yongling laughed and took a sip of the snowflake wine. He picked up a pair of chopsticks and glanced over the side dishes before awkwardly setting down them again. "Looks like wine is the only decent thing served in this place," he thought to himself. I Tongya, aware of his family's limited knowledge, seized the opportunity to acquire more knowledge. "Brother Xiao, could you enlighten us on what pine forest wind is?" he asked, following up on Xiao Yongling's previous remarks. "To advance from the embryonic breathing to the Qi cultivation realm, one must breathe in a mouthful of spiritual Qi of heaven and earth. Pine forest wind is an example of it, gathered on snowy days in pine forests with a unique method. One can collect a wisp over 6 months and 5 years to gather enough atop a snowy peak. If one waits for annual snowfall, the process could extend over a decade," Xiao Yongling explained with a smile. "I see." After a few more conversations, Xiao Yongling waved and said with a smile, "It's getting late. I shouldn't keep you two from heading to Cloud Crown Peak any longer. Let's part ways here. If you ever find yourselves in Lixia Prefecture in the future, do make sure to visit. We'll share more stories over wine." "Certainly," Li Tongya and Wan Kai responded warmly. With a friendly smile, Xiao Yongling bid his farewell to the 2 men and led his entourage out of the tavern, heading east. After taking a few steps, Xiao Yongling appeared lost in thought. The middle-aged manager bowed slightly and followed behind him, not daring to interrupt. While the manager was silently observing Xiao Yongling from behind, he overheard a whisper behind him. "Isn't that master known for his arrogance? Why was he so humble and courteous today to those 2? That's quite a shock." Taking a step backward, the middle-aged manager slapped the speaker on the back of his head hard and hissed beside his ear, "You think we mortals are seen as equals by the master? No one would waste polite words on a mere dog." Chapter 49. Huge ship. The spiritual energy at the northern foot of Mount Dali was gradually returning, and with this resurgence, the presence of demons increased. Li Tongya had only been away for 2 months when a bear demon appeared at Ladeaku village. Fortunately, the demon was only at the profound scenery stage. With Li Xiangping on the verge of breaking through to the azurescent stage, he was able to keep the situation under control. He gathered the men in the village and wielded his bow, releasing several golden arrows that swiftly dealt with the demon. On one hand, Li Xiangping had to arrange for the demon's remains to be hauled to the Wan family and sold to Wan Xiaohua. On the other, he was tasked with planning the reconstruction of the road damaged by the demon's rampage. This left him so occupied that he had not returned to Mount Lijing for several days. Back at home, his mother and Tian Yun, along with Renping, were busy taking care of little Xianfeng and Jingtian in the main courtyard, Li Xianxian. having recently condensed the profound scenery chakra, had eagerly accompanied his third uncle down the mountain to confront the demon, leaving Li Mutian alone in the backyard. Li Mutian, unable to sit idle, busied himself crafting a set of furniture. He placed it outside the house that accommodated the stone platform, spending his days watching the spring breeze dance through the courtyard. Now nearly 70, the wounds from his youth occasionally reminded him of their presence. The toll of a farmer's life had aged him quickly. His hair was gray, and his vigor was not what it once was. He took a seat in the courtyard, his thoughts often drifting to his two children who were away from home, as well as the affairs at home. I don't worry about Xiangping and Tongya. They have the potential to bring prosperity to our Li family. But Jing'er, he's so far away from home, in the depths of the unknown of the immortal sect without anyone to help him. I wonder how he's doing right now. Stroking his white beard, the old man gazed at the mirror on the stone platform and mused to himself. One's success is everyone's glory, and one's loss is borne by the entire family. The small courtyards on the cloud-crowned peak of the Shao family were shrouded in a veil of clouds and mist, so dense that it was rumored even spiritual sense could not penetrate it. Li Tongya and Wan Yuankai followed behind the Shao family servants. They eventually reached the flat summit of the mountain. Judging by our steps, cloud-crowned peak doesn't seem much taller than Mount Lijing. Li Tongya mused silently. Upon reaching the top, they saw a large courtyard bustling with about 30 to 40 people. All of them were well-dressed, conversing in hushed tones in small groups. Amidst them all, an elderly man sat serenely at the highest point, his gaze lowered to a book in his hands. That old man, there is Shao Shooting, an elder of the Shao family who has attained the Foundation Establishment realm. Wan Yuankai whispered, causing Li Tongya to quickly divert his gaze, cautious not to inadvertently offend such a distinguished figure. Senior Shao is quite the legend. Over a century ago, the Shao family was barely notable in the prefecture. After the tragic demise of their chief, who was in the qi cultivation realm, Senior Shao averted the family's downfall with his exceptional pill refining skills. Not long after that, he attained the Foundation Establishment realm and elevated the Shao family to their current status of a prestigious clan. Shao Yuankai continued explaining as he looked around in the courtyard. All of a sudden, his eyes lit up as he stepped forward and respectfully greeted, "Brother Lu, it's been so long. How have you been?" The man had a huge forehead and a blue silk cloak draped over his shoulders, radiating an air of natural pride despite his otherwise unassuming face. With a slight furrow of his brow, he responded somewhat coolly, "Ah, Brother Yuankai, it's been a while indeed." Wan Yuankai smiled awkwardly at the cold greeting returned to him, but was immediately taken aback by the gray pouch hanging at the man's waist. The Lu family is wealthy now. Huh? Since he's given a storage pouch, does that mean, have you broken through to the qi cultivation stage, my friend? Yes, thanks to a small reserve of minor pure spiritual qi at home. The man replied with a slight nod, lifting his chin proudly as he noticed the envious glances of others around them. Wan Yuankai's expression turned slightly pale as he congratulated the man in a small voice. "Congratulations, that makes 2 cultivators in the qi cultivation realm in your clan." Wan Yuankai tried exchanging a few more words with the cultivator from the Lu clan, but the cold responses from a man made him give up and return to Li Tongya with a somber look on his face. Li Tongya was aware of the Lu family, whose territory was just adjacent to the Wan family's. There was an unmistakable hint of envy in Wan Yuankai's voice when he previously mentioned to him that the Lu family had a cultivator in the qi cultivation realm. How did the Lu family gain another cultivator in the qi cultivation realm? I remember Lu Pingyuan once visited our family and offered us help against the Ji family. Back then, he was only at the Jade capital stage, but now he's already attained the qi cultivation realm. This minor pure spiritual qi, it sounds fancy, but it's really just refined using common spiritual qi on the mountains. With some effort, anyone could succeed in it. In fact, most cultivators rely on minor pure spiritual qi. Wan Yuankai commented disdainfully, as though trying to vent the frustration for being treated coldly earlier. Despite his dismissive words, it was clear from his expression that he deeply envied the Lu family. As they conversed quietly, a magnificent light gradually rose in the east. The cultivators around them looked up and began murmuring amongst themselves again. Quite the grand entrance. So that's a dawn cloudliner? The ethereal light from the east gradually neared, unveiling its true identity, a magnificent cloud ship enveloped in golden light. Adorned with misty wings on either side, it effortlessly sliced through the veils of clouds and mist. In just a few moments, the ship gracefully alighted upon a mountain's peak. "Welcome, envoy from the immortal sect." The gathered cultivators, including Shao Shooting, bowed in respect. From the dawn cloudliner, several streams of green light descended gracefully. As it landed on the mountaintop, a woman wearing a pale blue dress and a cloak came into view. Her face was covered by a veil, so no one could discern her true appearance. Accompanying her were several attendants from the immortal sect, all clad in blue uniforms. Xiao Shooting came forward with a warm smile and said, "Greetings, envoy. No formalities needed, senior." The fairy's voice was both clear and gentle, making her seem like a noble lady. "Well, then I shall keep this short. These are the tributes from the Xiao family this year." Xiao Shooting chuckled and gestured to the members of the Xiao family, who began moving their impressive tributes from the front yard. They hefted bags of spirit rice, easily amounting to several thousand jin in total. Additionally, there were also over a dozen boxes brimming with a variety of spirit goods, opened and ready for inspection. 5,000 jin of purple jade spirit rice, and all other spirit goods are accounted for as per the usual share. "You may proceed with the inspection, fairy." Ningguan shook her head and softly declined. "No need. I trust the Xiao family's reputation." Xiao Shooting cupped his fist respectfully while his family members began moving the spirit goods and spirit rice onto the cloudliner. Given the sheer volume, a staggering 5 or 6,000 jin of spirit commodities, a typical storage bag was inadequate for the task. Hence, the Dawn cloudliner was required. Following this, other families quickly stepped forward, each announcing their names and presenting the tributes from their families. Wu family from the south of the prefecture, Lu family from Mount Tiaoyan, Wan family from Mount Huaqian, Li family from Lijing village. Wan Yuankai and Li Tongya approached together, presenting their tributes to the attendants. The Li family's tributes this year consisted of 10 white essence fruits and 200 jin of spirit rice. I Tongya's heart ached when he looked at the remaining 90 jin of spirit rice and 5 white essence fruits. However, his attention was suddenly captured by Ning Wang's voice. "So, you're from the Li family from Lijing village?" Chapter 50. Pill. "So, you're from the Li family from Lijing village? By the Moongaze Lake?" Ning Wan inquired. Her question instantly prompted whispers among the onlookers. "Li family by the Moongaze Lake? I've never heard of them. What do they do to catch the envoy's attention?" "Who knows?" Xiao Chutin was also looking in their direction. He smiled and offered Li Tongya an encouraging nod. Despite being momentarily taken aback, Li Tongya quickly composed himself and raised his gaze. He could see the fair skin and soft jawline under Ning Wan's veil. "Yes, I am Li Tongya of the Li family. Our home, Mount Lijing, is indeed by Moongaze Lake," he replied calmly. "And who is this Li Che-jing to you?" Ning Wan asked that a spark of realization lit up Li Tongya's face. He figured that Li Che-jing must have told something to this lady in the sect. "He's my younger brother," he answered respectfully. Ning Wan extended her left hand, and a small brocade pouch gracefully floated toward Li Tongya. "This is from your younger brother," she stated softly. Li Tongya hurriedly accepted the pouch. He could not help but feel the weight of the curious gazes around him, making him uncomfortably aware of his sudden prominence, as he never enjoyed such attention. "Thank you, fairy," he quickly expressed his gratitude. Ning Wan gave him a nod. While she shared a light-hearted exchange with Xiao Shooting, all the families eventually submitted their tributes. All 34 families in Lixiao Prefecture have presented their tributes. One of the attendants respectfully reported to Ning Wan. "Good." Ning Wan nodded, then addressed Xiao Shooting. "I must attend to other duties. With the tributes collected, I'll take my leave now." "Take care, envoy," Xiao Shooting replied, cupping his fist as he watched Ning Wan make her way back to the flying ship. As the Dawn cloudliner ascended into the eastern sky, Xiao Shooting's gaze returned to the crowd. He spoke in a calm tone. "The rogue cultivators have gathered at the foot of the mountain. The market there has been open for a few days now. You're all welcome to head there for trading." He paused, adding a firm reminder. "Just remember, we're all old friends now. You should be aware that the Cloud Crown market is under the management of the Xiao family. I expect everyone to respect that. Any acts of robbery or forced transactions within the market will be seen as a direct affront to my family's authority." "Understood." The crowd acknowledged respectfully before dispersing toward the foot of the mountain. Several approached Li Tongya with the intention of engaging with him, and Wan Yuankai could only stare at him enviously. He was about to say something when Xiao Shooting's sudden cough drew their attention. "Young Tongya, would you kindly join me for a conversation?" he asked with a smile. The people who tried to approach Li Tongya quickly stopped in their tracks. Wan Yuankai quickly buttoned his lips as well. Tongya eagerly responded. "You're flattering me, senior. It would be my honor to speak with a cultivator of your caliber." Xiao Shooting led Li Tongya to the main courtyard. They settled at a stone table, with attendants promptly serving tea. Taking a sip of the delicately flavored brew, Xiao Shooting remarked, "I rarely visit Cloud Crown Peak, so the hospitality here is modest. I hope you don't mind, young one." Li Tongya accepted the teacup and took a small sip. A sweet, refreshing flavor instantly exploded on the tip of his tongue, clearing his mind. While resisting the urge to empty his cup in one go, he shook his head humbly in response to Xiao Shooting's remarks. "Your younger brother and my grandson have been cultivating on Qingsui Peak for several years. My grandson had mentioned him to me before. That younger brother of yours shows great potential in swordsmanship and has caught the eye of Master Si Yuanbai, who considers his talents to be unparalleled in Qingsui Peak's recent centuries. Raised in a farming family, Li Tongya was more accustomed to the tea bowls of his village than the delicate teacups. His surprise was palpable when he heard Xiao Shooting's remarks. Pausing momentarily, he replied with a pleasant surprise, "Jing'er has never mentioned that to us. Your younger brother is a good kid. Have you taken a look inside that brocade pouch?" Xiao Shooting's gaze softened as he looked at Li Tongya, revealing a look of nostalgia on his face. A smile graced his lips as he continued, "There are 5 spirit stones in there. These are part of the provisions he received over 5 years. He has probably used the spirit rice and pills, but he saved these spirit stones." Pub Future adds Li Tongya's expression immediately shifted to one of poignant realization. "My family has truly been a burden to him," he murmured. Xiao Shooting raised his hand dismissively and said, "Ah, you shouldn't think that way. In a family, one's success is everyone's glory, and one's loss is borne by the entire family." He then produced a white jade vial from seemingly nowhere and placed it on the table. "I see you're still at the Azure Essence stage of the embryonic breathing realm. This is a bright spirit powder. Use it to break through to the Jade Capital stage." Li Tongya was taken aback by the unexpected generosity. He stood up hastily and waved his hand. "Senior, I couldn't possibly accept such a valuable gift. Do not refuse it. Take it before you leave. Without a Jade Capital cultivator at home, you're letting Ching Sui peak down. Now go." With those final words, Xiao Shooting rose and retreated to the backyard, leaving a stunned Li Tongya to be ushered out by the attendants. At the foot of Cloud Crown Peak, Li Tongya clutched the precious pill and smiled wryly. He looked at Wan Yuankai, who wore an expression of mixed emotions, and said, "Brother Yuankai, about this market, Snapping back to the present, Wan Yuankai gestured ahead and said, "Just follow this path. There are illusionary formations around the market to keep the mortals away. Stay close and don't wander off." As they ventured further, the once quiet mountain path transformed. They entered a bustling marketplace, alive with the sounds of barter and conversation. "Brother Tongya, my clan has entrusted me with a task, so let's part ways here. We'll meet later at the foot of the mountain and return together by carriage." Wan Yuankai cupped his fist and smiled at Li Tongya before quickly heading eastward. Tongya watched him disappear into the distance, then turned his attention to a small roadside stall. The stall owner was deeply engrossed in a book with a perplexed expression. There was a collection of talismans, a few unknown spirit objects, and several small flags displayed in his stall. "These are formation flags, aren't they?" Li Tongya inquired. His curiosity piqued as he eyed the small grayish-white flags but refrained from touching them. "Yes, crafted from the leather of a beast demon in the Jade Capital stage and mounted on poles made of white jade wood. They're priced at 8 spirit stones each." Recalling the 6 flags Xiao Yuanci had sold to his family, Li Tongya probed further. "I've heard of flags made with white-striped Crucian carp skin for the body and red birch wood for the poles. Do you know how they are usually priced?" The stall owner looked surprised. His gaze on Li Tongya turned into a mix of eagerness and respect. "That's quite specialized, senior. Red birch wood is not that uncommon, but white-striped Crucian carp skin is typically used for crafts in the Qi cultivation realm. You might want to check the stalls on the east side for those. Our stalls here mainly cater to the embryonic breathing realm." "I see." Li Tongya nodded as a realization dawned on him that it appears the price Xiao Yuanci charged my family was quite reasonable. If these flags of the embryonic breathing realm are 8 spirit stones each, then 12 spirit stones for those of the Qi cultivator realm is still a fair deal. Chapter 51. Purchase 5 spirit stones, 5 white essence fruits, and 90 gene of spirit rice. Li Tongya counted, reassessing his possessions. The white essence fruits were common ingredients in pill concoctions. His family lacked the expertise to put them to good use, so he decided to sell them instead. The spirit rice, however, brimming with spiritual qi, was worth keeping for personal consumption. "We still owe Xiao Yuanci 10 spirit stones," he mumbled, feeling an impending headache. "It seems Xiao Yuanci understands is not a debt he can collect quickly. Even the envoy has already departed. For now, I'll have to let the debt stand, perhaps for a few more years." As Li Tongya strolled through the bustling market, he marveled at the array of spirit objects but found nothing related to the 100 arts of immortal cultivation. He crouched before a stall, rifling through the items, when the stall's owner, wearing a black face veil, inquired softly, "What are you looking for, fellow Taoist?" Li Tongya only realized that she was a woman when he heard her gentle voice. He smiled wryly at her and asked, "Do you have anything related to the 100 arts of immortal cultivation?" "This must be your first time here at the market," the woman remarked, her voice tinged with amusement. "Yes." The woman's eyes twinkled as she began explaining. "The talismans, pills, and formations around Lixia Prefecture usually come from one of 3 sources: the Azure Pond sect, various prominent clans, or rogue cultivators. The Azure Pond sect, being the largest supplier, restricts the sale of 100 arts of immortal cultivation here. This allows them to continuously gather materials at low costs, which they then process into finished goods for sale to us. As for the prominent clans, they too have little interest in selling what sustains them. In an unspoken agreement with the Azurpan sect, they help restrict the circulation of anything related to these 100 arts of immortal cultivation. This way, they can ensure their slice of the market remains intact. Li Tongya nodded as he listened intently to the female cultivator's explanation. He looked at her in perplexity and asked, "So, there are quite a number of rogue cultivators in Lixia Prefecture?" The female cultivator shook her head, leaning in slightly to elucidate. In the vast lands of Yu State, with millions of inhabitants, even a single prefecture like Lixia houses 600,000 to 700,000 people. Within the 5 prefectures under the governance of the Azurpan sect, there could easily be 3,000 to 4,000 individuals with spiritual orifices, and that's not even considering the long-established lineages of the prominent clans. The number of immortal cultivators could well exceed 5,000. "You sure know a lot, fellow Taoist," Li Tongya remarked as his gaze wandered over the items in her stall. The talismans seemed not particularly useful and were hardly worth his spirit stones. 3 talismans for 1 spirit stone, the woman said. When Li Tongya heard the price, he quickly shifted his gaze away to a light blue sword. This sword is crafted from clear smoke stone and tempered in snowy cold air. It's not just sharp and swift, it also carries a frigid frost with each strike. The female cultivator immediately became more friendly. With a smile, she continued, "It's a good sword. I wouldn't have sold it if I hadn't acquired a new Dharma artifact. I'm offering it for 10 spirit stones." Due to budget constraints, Li Tongya could only move his gaze away reluctantly from the sword and search for something else in the stall. Since the sky was getting dark, he picked up a dark-colored bough on her stall and inquired, "How about this bough?" "Ah, this bough is made from ebony wood and strung with the tendons of a demon of the azurescent stage. When infused with mana, it adds a piercing aura to the arrows. I can let it go for 4 spirit stones." Li Tongya chuckled and countered 2 spirit stones. "That's too low," the female cultivator replied, shaking her head. "Well," Tongya pointed out, "I can tell that it's quite worn already. How about 2 spirit stones and 5 white essence fruits? That's worth 2.5 spirit stones." After a moment of contemplation and a glance at the darkening sky, the female cultivator gritted her teeth and finally said, "Deal." Li Tongya handed over the spirit stones and spirit fruits to the stall owner, then stood up with his newly acquired bough in hand and 3 remaining spirit stones securely in his pocket. Some vendors were starting to pack up, so he hurriedly made a round through the market. The shops ahead peddled items for cultivators in the Qi cultivation realm. Since Li Tongya could not possibly afford them, he quickly skipped those stalls. He kept his head lowered, browsing through the items offered by various stalls. Soon, he came across a young man in hemp clothing and a leather coat, standing beside a large iron cage that was holding a pack of furry canine creatures. The young man looked quite despondent, but he quickly brightened up when he noticed Li Tongya's interest. "Take a look at these forest beasts, fellow Taoist. They're mild in temperament and will reach the radiant lure stage of the embryonic breathing realm at maturity. They're swift, with razor-sharp teeth capable of overpowering dozens of mortals. You'll only have to feed them spirit rice." Upon hearing this, Li Tongya finally understood why the young man failed to make a sale the entire day. "But what use is there in overpowering mortals?" he asked. "Well, these beasts are incredibly intelligent. They can track scents, find objects, and even detect monstrous auras. How much for one?" "A spirit stone for 1. Li Tongya turned to leave, prompting the stall owner to grab Li Tongya by the corner of his shirt and hastily offer, "1 spirit stone for 2. Li Tongya paused, then shook his head and said, "Your beasts seem fine, but any cultivator could easily deal with them with just a few spells. On top of that, they need to be fed with spirit rice. My family can barely afford such rations for ourselves, let alone for these creatures." The young man hesitated for a moment before nodding in understanding. He perked up, saying, "Wait, I have something else that might interest you, fellow Taoist." He pulled out a small silver box and held it out with hope in his eyes. "This contains Wujia worms. They produce Wujia spirit silk and only require spirit bran or similar substances rich with spiritual qi for nourishment. They aren't fussy eaters. They'll consume the leaves or stems of spirit patties. In the absence of spirit substances, they can survive on animal meat as well." Li Tongya's interest was piqued as he took the silver box. Inside, he found several small blue-gray worms wriggling amongst mulberry leaves. "What's the use of this Wujia spirit silk?" he asked. "It can be woven into spirit garments and fabrics that are resistant to ordinary weapons. It can also be sold for a good price." The young man explained. Tongya contemplated the leaves and stems he had stored at home. Though tempted, he feigned concern and said, "I'm not sure I can manage their care. If it interests you, I can include a detailed manual on their care and breeding. This guide, along with the spirit worms, would be yours for just 2 spirit stones." The young man gritted his teeth and offered with a determined expression. "Deal." Li Tongya agreed after a moment of consideration. He carefully put away the silver box and wooden slip handed over by the young man. As dusk set in, he bid the stall owner farewell and made his way to the carriage. where he found the driver dozing off. He chucked and waited quietly. Soon, Wan Yuankai returned, looking quite worn but cheerful. Seeing Li Tongya with a bow, he asked, "Found any good stuff, Brother Tongya?" "Just an embryonic, breathing-level bow. Hardly a treasure." Li Tongya chuckled, passing the bow to Wan Yuankai after they got on carriage. While Wan Yuankai examined the bowstrings, Li Tongya asked, "What do you think?" "Ebony wood and ox tendons," Wan Yuankai remarked as he tugged the bowstring. He frowned, then continued, "Worth about 3 spirit stones. No more, or it's a loss." Li Tongya nodded with a smile. As they chatted, the carriage began its bumpy journey back home. Both men, who were lost in their thoughts and lulled by the motion of the carriage under the dark sky, soon drifted to sleep. Chapter 52. Deng Xiuzhi Xiaoping had just broken through to the Azure Essence stage last night. Just like his older brother, Li Tongya, they had now successfully condensed the 4th chakra of the embryonic breathing realm. When he was done with his work at home for the day, he settled down in the courtyard and began studying the profound water sword technique manual. His concentration was absolute until the sound of approaching footsteps came from outside the courtyard. "Big brother?" he asked. As expected, Li Tongya entered the courtyard wearily. His clothes were drenched by the morning dew, and mud clung to his shoes. He dropped a cloth bag onto the table and then gave Li Xiaoping a bear hug as soon as he saw him. Xiaoping sighed with relief and smiled. "You're finally home. Father could hardly sleep every night when you were away from home." "Haha, I've got quite a haul from this trip." Li Tongya's laughter filled the courtyard as he carefully retrieved a silver box from his chest pocket and checked its contents. Seeing how weak the Wuzhou worms inside were, he could not help but let out a soft sigh. Nevertheless, he quickly brightened as he handed Li Xiaoping the dark longbow he had been carrying on his back. "Give it a try," he urged. Xiaoping's eyes widened in amazement as he tested the bowstring and carefully ran his fingers along the bow. With a flow of mana, the bow emitted a white glow and shimmered. "It's Dharma artifact?" he asked in awe. "I bought at the market for 2.5 spirit stones," Li Tongya replied with a grin. Xiaoping's heart ached when he heard the price, then turned to his second brother doubtfully and asked, "That's steep. Where did you get those spirit stones?" Li Tongya recounted every detail of his journey to Cloud Crown Peak. At the end of it, Li Xiaoping nodded and sighed. Jing'er is really a big boy now. News about Li Tongya's return soon reached Li Xianxian and Li Qiuyang, and both of them quickly made their way up the mountain to greet him. Li Tongya handed the box of Wuzhou worms and its detail manual to Lu Rochuan. His voice took on a serious tone as he said, "This is our first attempt at raising Wuzhou worms. Read the manual carefully, find some experienced silkworm raisers, and set up a dedicated space in the courtyard. I'll have Li Yeshing send over the necessary leaves and stems of spirit patties later. These spirit worms have suffered on a rough journey and are in poor condition right now." "Understood." Despite her eagerness to spend time with her husband who had been away for a few months, Lu Rochuan knew the urgency of the task and carefully took the silver box and descended the mountain to make the necessary arrangements. Li Qiuyang, seated comfortably on a wooden chair, looked at Li Tongya with sparkling eyes and said, "Clan uncle, the Azure Pond Immortal Sect is truly something else." Li Qiuyang, now around 11 or 12 years old, had taken on the significant responsibility of overseeing the spirit patties production for the past few years. He generally kept a low profile within the village. Fortunately, his father, Li Chengfu, had been prudent as well. He made sure that his brothers focused on farming and constructing courtyards, steering clear of any actions that might lead to scandalous behavior or the bullying of others. Of course, their envoy arrived on her dawn cloudliner. The brilliant light that accompanied it in the sky was quite a spectacle. Li Tongya chuckled, his voice resonating with a mix of awe and respect. "That's really impressive." Li Zhejing kumantakuldi. He rested his left hand on the hilt of the sword at his waist, but suppressed the urge to draw it. "I was in seclusion for years, and it seems I've missed the arrival of a new disciple on Qingsui Peak." The youth in front of Li Zhejing mused as he played with a golden pearl in his hand. The peculiar closeness of his eyes somewhat detracted his otherwise handsome features. Clad in fox fur and flaunting an elegant storage pouch at his waist, he exuded an air of refined sophistication. The young man and his entourage inched closer toward Li Zhejing, slowly pushing him into a corner along the narrow path. "Don't be so scared, junior brother. We're merely testing your mettle," the young man said. Li Zhejing continued backing up slowly, only to find his back pressed against the cold stone wall behind him. He tightened his grip on his sword hilt as he watched the young man's every move. "You're already a cultivator in the Qi cultivation realm. Aren't you ashamed to gang up on someone who's only at the peak nascent spirit stage of the embryonic breath realm like this?" he retorted. The young man merely responded with a faint smile. The pearl in his hand suddenly burst into a golden light and flew toward Li Zhejing. Li Zhejing frowned and quickly summoned an azure-colored spirit net in front of him in an attempt to counter the golden pearl that was quickly approaching him. Disciples from Qingsui Peak really know everything except swordsmanship. The youth scoffed. though he could not hide his admiration when he saw Li Chijing's action. But I have to commend you for your quick reaction. Li Chijing gripped the scabbard with his left hand and the sword hilt with his right. The impact of countering the golden pearl with his spirit net caused blood to spill from his lips. Yet, he lunged forward and closed the gap between him and the young man. The young man was caught off guard and tried to recall his Dharma artifact with his spiritual sense. Unfortunately, it was now entangled in the azure net. Although his spirit pearl flickered to life and managed to free itself from the net, the net's grip had delayed its escape. Li Chijing clenched his jaw and finally drew his sword. A brilliant crescent arc of white light trailed from his left to the right as he swung his long sword toward his opponent's neck. Impossible, the young man gasped, his skin prickling with shock. His mind raced for a counterspell, but it was too late. The talisman hanging around his neck flared to life, projecting a shield of golden light that managed to deflect the sword's lethal trajectory just in time. Even so, the impact of the contact was so great that the young man staggered back several steps in disbelief. Oh no! The young man could not be bothered by the dissonance in his chi at this point. He quickly performed a hand seal to swiftly retract the golden bead that was flying toward the back of Li Chijing's head, then looked at Li Chijing with a conflicted look on his face. Cultivators in the chi cultivation realm who possess the ability to manipulate a Dharma artifact from a distance typically put sword wielders at a disadvantage. However, Li Chijing's daring approach with his profound water sword technique managed to turn the tables. The young man had always disdained those from Qingsui Peak. With the initial intention of intimidating the new disciple on Qingsui Peak in a playful ruse, he found himself unexpectedly outwitted. "You've won," the young man admitted with a conflicted look on his face, and cupped his fist as he locked his gaze on Li Chijing, who stood with his sword in hand. Li Chijing's face was pale as he returned his sword to its scabbard. "I'm grateful for your restraint, fellow Taoist. That was my first real combat with the sword, and I failed to keep my strength under control." The young man clapped his brocade pouch and retrieved several vials of ointments, placing them before Li Chijing. "I apologize that one of my men had accidentally hurt you, fellow Taoist. I am Deng Xiuji from Yuanwu Peak, and I promise I'll visit your quarters soon to extend a proper apology." Noticing Li Chijing's pale face, Deng Xiuji quickly instructed two of his men to escort him back to Qingsui Peak, then quickly departed with his remaining man as if they were fleeing from the scene. After walking a small distance, Deng Xiuji turned around with a sour expression and then slapped one of his followers. "You! Come with me to Qingsui Peak tomorrow to apologize." The man who got slapped hung his head and then muttered under his breath, "But you're the one who provoked him." Little did he expect that Deng Xiuji would seize him by his neck and lift him off the ground. With a conflicted look on his face, Deng Xiuji asked, "Do you think that guy will hold a grudge against me?" "Of course not, young master. You even gave him ointments. I'm sure he'll forget about this." The man, startled by Deng Xiuji's sudden action, began assuring Deng Xiuji in order to save his own life. Deng Xiuji listened to the man for a brief moment, then narrowed his eyes and gazed sternly at the man as he squeezed every word out of his mouth slowly. "And you won't hold a grudge against me, right?" The man's heart pounded with dread, his legs shaking uncontrollably as he stammered. "Oh, of course not. Good," Deng Xiuji replied, setting the man back on his feet. He stood there for a moment, lost in thought, and mumbled to himself, "Li Chijing from Qingsui Peak." Chapter 53. Formation at Mount Li Chijing stirred awake in a dim, softly lit room. He felt the comfort of a plush bed beneath him, and his senior sister, Yuan Tuan, was delicately applying ointment to the wounds on his back. The sensation was soothing, and the coolness of the medicine alleviated much of the pain. Li Chijing strained to lift his head and glanced around. The medicine pots, pills, and books in the room told him that he was in senior brother Xiao Yuanxi's pavilion. "Ugh. Where's senior brother?" he asked groggily in a raspy voice. "He went to Yuanwu Peak," Yuan Tuan replied gently, her hair cascading down like a dark waterfall, barely grazing his neck. "You're still in the embryonic breathing realm, too weak for the potent healing elixirs. I've mended your injuries with a spell. With the help of this ointment, you'll feel better by tomorrow," she added reassuringly. However, Li Chijing's thoughts lingered on Xiao Yuanxi. Did senior brother go to Yuanwu Peak alone? "Master is with him," Yuan Tuan assured with a smile, and then said, "Even if Deng Xiuji is from a prominent clan, he can't just bully people from Qingsui Peak." Li Chijing frowned slightly and commented glumly, "There's something wrong with that man. The Deng family has always been known for their erratic behavior. It's best not to dwell on him too much," Yuan Tuan advised as she began tidying up, then continued. "Their cultivation method, the moonlit frosty qi, uses a type of qi that can no longer be found, and because of this, the cultivation method was modified over different generations of the Deng family. Now, after a century, it's finally improved to an extent where it can be practiced, but it affects the minds of cultivators. Those who practice it have a certain unpredictable nature and do everything at their own pace." Li Chijing looked up at her in surprise and asked, "What grade is the Deng family's technique that they have to go to such great lengths to practice it?" It's a grade 5 cultivation method, Yuan Tuan answered nonchalantly. Seeing Li Chujing's astonished expression, she chuckled. I was very surprised when I first found out about it too. Apart from secret techniques from the upper sect, even the renowned clear essence rain control technique of the Azurpan sect is only a grade 4. It's surprising that a family under another governance could possess such a high-grade cultivation method. As Yuan Tuan returned the ointment back on the shelf, she continued her explanation. I've heard that their family's cultivation method originates from the upper sect, Moonlight Origin Mansion. Centuries ago, Moonlight Immortal Mansion frequently distributed this moonlit frosty chi technique manual. Our Azurpan sect possesses a similar grade 5 technique, named the Moon Lake Autumn Reflection Technique. It also uses a type of chi that can no longer be found since the Immortal Mansion has vanished from the world, so no one has been able to practice it. I've heard about it, Li Chejing responded, nodding. Senior brother mentioned that the missing chi of the cultivation method is known as Supreme In Moonlight. I've heard rumors that someone from Moon Lake Peak once fortuitously obtained it. That was at Moongaze Lake. Yuan Tuan's voice softened as she spoke with an envious look on her face. In fact, all the 5 instances of Supreme In Moonlight discovered by the 3 sects and 7 gates over centuries were all from Moongaze Lake. They were found in the remains of ancient masters, remnants of formations and caves, or inherited secret realms, she said. I Chejing stared at the pillow in front of him in a daze. He nearly voiced out a speculation, but quickly swallowed back his words. Senior sister, I wish to visit home. My older brothers wrote that our father's health has been declining over the past few years. I wish to spend some time with him. After a moment of contemplation, Yuan Tuan replied, in a few months, I'll be heading to Mushroom Forest Plain to collect the tributes. Mount Dali is just west of there, so you can come with me. Thank you, senior sister, Li Chejing said with a grateful smile, and then lay on his bed, lost in his thoughts. Pub Future adds, after a night of cultivation, Li Xianxian watered the spirit fields with spirit rain the following morning and then left the courtyard. As he walked along the stone path, villagers carrying hoes greeted him warmly, affectionately addressing him as Little Immortal Master. Over 10 years had passed since the Li family first discovered the mysterious mirror, and during this time, a new generation had matured in the village. People had gradually grown accustomed to the Li family's leadership. The villagers regarded Li Xiangping with a mix of fear and respect, admired Li Tongya, and felt a kinship with Li Xianxian, who had been a constant presence in their lives since childhood. Li Mutian, secluded in the mountains, was almost a forgotten figure to the younger generation. Only a few elders who reported to the mountain occasionally, and the old villagers, reminiscing under the eaves of their home, remembered this old soldier. Li Xianxian pushed open the door and strolled into the courtyard. As soon as he did, he noticed a lacquered wooden platform about half his height. It looked like a large bed, strewn with straw, dried yellow leaves, and finely ground with shavings. Forming small, intriguing nests, he greeted Lu Rochuan with a smile. Auntie, I don't see my uncles around. Where might they be? Your second uncle had gone into seclusion to break through to the Jade Capital stage with the help of bright spirit powder he received and the snake essence pill from home. He should emerge from seclusion soon, Lu Rochuan replied. She put away the leaves of spirit patties in her hand, then patted Li Xianxian on the head, and continued saying, and your third uncle went to Mountain Meiche to look for more spirit fields. I see. Li Xuanxuan nudda. Just when he was about to ask something else, a gentle knock on the courtyard's door interrupted them. Clan brother, are you in the courtyard? The young chief has instructions for you. The voice on the other side of the door said. Li Xianxian quickly opened the door to find Li Qiuyang and Li Yeshing waiting outside. What's going on? He asked. We'll talk on the way. Li Qiuyang grabbed his hand. After apologizing to Lu Rochuan for having to leave so abruptly, Li Xianxian followed Li Yeshing up the mountain. The young chief discovered something peculiar on Mount Meiche and told Uncle Yeshing to fetch us. I heard there's a formation on that mountain, Li Qiuyang explained as they hurried up the mountain. A formation on Mount Meiche? Li Xianxian asked in surprise. But that mountain has always been deserted. That formation must have been a few centuries old. Probably. Li Qiuyang nodded, then commented in a hushed tone. I hope we've stumbled upon an immortal's cave filled with useful stuff. Li Xianxian was only about 8 or 9 years old, so it was quite a struggle to keep pace with his 2 older companions. With a frown, he performed a hand seal and cast the divine movement spell. As soon as he smacked the white light on his palm against his thigh, he could easily match the speed of the others. We'll have to watch out for traps. Master Han always said that there's no such thing as a free lunch, he warned. After about 2 hours' climb, they found Li Xiangping meditating on a large stone. Upon seeing their arrival, he smiled and said, just watch and wait. He rose to his feet and gracefully removed the dark longbow strapped to his back. With one foot firmly planted on a large boulder, he knocked an arrow on the shimmering white bowstring, then narrowed his eyes in concentration, focusing intently on a sloping hill not too far in the distance. Swoosh! With a swift motion, Li Xiangping released the arrow. It zipped through the air with incredible speed. However, just as it was about to strike the hillside, something unexpected occurred. The air rippled like disturbed water, and the arrow, as if colliding with an invisible barrier, fell to the ground. "What a swift arrow," Li Qiuyang complimented, then fixed his gaze on the hillside and began thinking. "This is my Dharma artifact. I call it Ebony Bow," Li Xianping said with a smile. "There's probably an illusionary formation or a type of defensive spirit formation at the foot of that hill," he continued thoughtfully. Chapter 54. Jade, capital Li Xianping fired 2 more arrows that failed to make an impact. He sighed softly and said, "The formation appears formidable and unbreakable, likely surpassing the embryonic breathing realm. Young chief, our Li family lacks knowledge in formation arts. Wouldn't it be prudent to collaborate with the Wan family on this?" Li Qiuyang suggested. He had walked around the hill a few times and scrutinized it, but was unable to discern anything about the formation. "No," Li Xianping shook his head and then continued. "With second brother on the brink of breaking through to the Jade capital stage, our situation may improve. Sharing with the Wan family means dividing any potential gains, even if they failed to break the formation. The risk of conflict over valuable finds is high, so I'd rather avoid that." "You're right, Chief," Li Qiuyang concurred, stepping back respectfully. "I've told you all to come here and make a few arrangements for me," Li Xianping said. "Yeshing, organize the manpower from Jingyang village. Discuss this with Uncle Ping'an. Over the next few years, we'll build roads and courtyards here. Ensure these lands will be well guarded. I've assessed the earth veins around here. They're rich in spiritual energy and make this land a good vast spirit field. We'll cultivate 2 batches of spirit patties every 5 years. That should yield at least 100 gene of spirit rice. Qiuyang, you'll be overseeing this." "Understood." After Li Qiuyang accepted his instruction, he descended the mountain, with Li Yeshing to make the necessary arrangements with Ren Ping'an. "Once added to our current 300 gene yield, we could have a surplus of 2 or 3 spirit stones every 5 years. With time, our resources will grow," Li Xianping mused as he watched the 2 men descend the mountain and disappear into the distance. He turned his attention to Li Xianxian, only to see him grinning. "What are you thinking?" Li Xianping asked in amusement. "I was just thinking that you must really trust Brother Qiuyang." Li Xianxian commented with a smile and looked up at Li Xianping. Li Xianping laughed and then shared, "Li Qiuyang's family has always been prudent and astute, especially his father, Li Qingfu. They know when to step forward or back, making them reliable people to carry out our tasks. Our family's properties have grown, and we have more people to help out. We should take advantage of them and trust them with the tasks we have delegated to them. Besides, Li Qiuyang may be a cultivator in the embryonic breathing realm now, but advancing to the qi cultivation realm is another matter. And even then, birthing an heir with a spiritual orifice isn't guaranteed. He can never compare to members of the main family. Right now, there's no need to worry about him posing a threat. As for the Liu family of Jingyang village, they're practically part of our own now, especially with their only cultivator married into the main family." Looking at the thoughtful look on Li Xuanxuan's face, Li Xianping leaned closer and whispered, "Besides, his father and older brother are at the foot of Mount Lijing. With Li Qiuyang's modest cultivation and youth, what impact could he make, especially with Ren Ping'an and Li Yeshing in Jingyang village keeping watch?" Li Xuanxuan's expression lightened as he digested these words. With a chuckle, he said, "Thanks for the valuable lesson, uncle." Li Xianping straightened up, his eyes warm yet serious. "Pay attention and learn well by my side. One day, the Li family's mantle will be yours. I started my immortal cultivation journey at 16, so I won't be able to progress as far as you in life. Besides, life and death are unpredictable. With the increasing number of demons in these mountains, we can't tell what will happen in the future. Our family must act swiftly, and so must you, Li Xianxian." "Life and death are indeed unpredictable," Li Xianxian murmured, his thoughts drifting to his father, whom he barely knew, stirring a pang of sadness within him. The crux of the embryonic breathing lies in condensing the Jade capital chakra in the Shenyang mansion. That's the 5th stage of embryonic breathing. Following that, one must condense the nascent spirit chakra and absorb a breath of spiritual qi of heaven and earth to transition into the qi cultivation realm. Emerging from deep meditation, Li Tongya felt a profound joy. He could feel his newly awakened spiritual sense coursing through his body. The world looked completely different to him now. He could see wisps of spiritual qi floating about. He concentrated on the formation flags in front of him with his spiritual sense. The misty maze formation on Mount Lijing immediately quivered, and Li Tongya felt as though he had grown a new limb. The entire mountain was now fully under his control. He could now also remove the blood left by other immortal cultivators on the formation. "Now that I've reached the Jade capital stage, ordinary mortals can no longer harm me." He carefully adjusted the misty maze formation on the mountain to seal off additional pathways that had emerged over time. Picking up a rock from the ground, he crushed it effortlessly in his palm and was able to sense everything within a radius of 3 meters around him. With the ability to easily evade surprise arrows and counter sharp blades with bare hands, a cultivator at a stage could easily overpower dozens of mortals or even decimate a small army of hundreds or thousands with good tactics. Upon entering the backyard, Li Tongya saw Li Xiangping immersed in cultivation. His newly acquired spiritual sense revealed the glowing 4 spiritual chakras within Li Xiangping's body. So, this is how cultivators discern another's cultivation. 4 spiritual chakras mean that person is at the azure essence stage of the embryonic breathing realm. As Li Xiangping gradually opened his eyes, Li Tongya greeted him with a chuckle. Congratulations on your advancement to the azure essence stage, third brother. Li Xiangping only offered a wry smile in response. So that's how the spiritual sense of the Jade capital stage works, huh? You were able to discern it right away. Their shared glance was full of mutual anticipation and understanding. Together, they proceeded toward the house at the end of the backyard where their father, Li Muqian, had been expecting their arrival. Li Tongya cupped his fist and asked, "Father, now that I possess a spiritual sense, I can finally examine this artifact. May I?" The old man nodded slowly, granting permission. Li Tongya carefully stepped forward and then extended his spiritual sense toward the mirror. Liu Jiangxian had already woken up when Li Tongya broke through to the Jade capital stage. Sensing the surge of power from the profound pearl talisman seed, Liu Jiangxian appraised the potency of his supreme, profound light. As powerful as an all-out single attack from a cultivator at peak nascent spirit stage of the embryonic realm. I can probably kill a cultivator in the early Qi cultivation realm if I manage to catch them off guard, he concluded. My mana will allow me 3 uses before I have to absorb moonlight or spiritual Qi to recharge the count, Liu Jiangxian estimated. Feeling Li Tongya's probing spiritual sense, Liu Jiangxian felt as though he was being poked by a little tentacle. It reminded him of that playful, secretive poke from a female classmate's pen during class in his distant past. With a small sigh, Liu Jiangxian refocused his attention on the young man before him. As if responding to Li Tongya, the mirror emitted a dazzling white light and rose from the stone platform. The luminous white moonlight surged out from the mirror, cascading like a soft mist throughout the house. It seeped out of the windows and doorways until it dissipated into the Li Xiangping and the others were captivated by the mesmerizing display. The cool, flowing moonlight seemed to cleanse their minds, leaving them in awe and filled with eager anticipation as they gazed toward the stone platform. Chapter 55. Breaking the formation. Liu Jiangxian activated the profound pearl sacrificial spirit art and then performed several hand seals to infuse Li Tongya's spiritual sense with some information before activating the profound pearl talisman seed. Suddenly, Li Tongya and the others felt a subtle movement in their profound pearl talisman seeds within their Qihai acupoint. They inexplicably sensed a type of connection with the mirror before them, as though they were connected by bloodline. Even Li Xianxian, who was meditating with closed eyes in the small courtyard, felt this connection and opened his eyes, glancing toward the mountaintop. As Li Tongya gazed at the mirror, the incantation for invoking the reception method sprang to his mind. He quickly kneeled down and respectfully recited, "As a disciple of the Li family, I, Li Tongya, respectfully request the profound light to grant me the supreme, profound light to vanquish evil, cleanse impurity, and subdue demons." Following this, Liu Jiangxian slightly loosened his grip on the supreme, profound light. Li Tongya was momentarily engulfed in a blur, losing sight of the stone platform and the white qi of the mirror. He felt as if he were soaring high above, with Lijing village sprawling beneath him. The vibrant life below and the cacophony of human and animal sounds were all vivid. With a mere thought, he could direct the brilliant supreme, profound light to strike at any point at the foot of the mountain. How magical! His spiritual sense, now immensely expanded, whisked him along the mountain roads. He flew past courtyards and stone paths, soon leaving the village behind. The world before him blurred, snapping him back to awareness. Phew! Awakening as though from an intense dream, everything in front of him became clear in his eyes. He was greeted by the concerned faces of Li Xiangping and Li Mutian. Wiping away his sweat, he took a moment to recover before chuckling. This mirror is no ordinary artifact. It now acknowledges our family and allows us to harness the supreme, profound light. After pondering a while, he continued, "To acquire this, just follow the invocation I just used. The supreme, profound light requires a 12-day interval between uses. All 12 runes around the frame of the mirror must be illuminated for activation. After harnessing the profound light, offerings of spirit rice and animal meat are necessary as tokens of gratitude." Excellent. We can now address several challenges. We'll attempt to break the formations on Mountain Meiche and acquire the Wan family's formation legacy. With this newfound ability, our family gains a vital defensive mechanism against powerful adversaries, Li Xiangping exclaimed with a clap, unable to hide his excitement. As the group began to discuss the offerings in detail, Lu Jiangxian reflected inwardly. The current ritual is ideal. It maintains the divine aspects of the mirror and reduces my direct intervention. Moreover, the Li family bears the burden of both time and spirit items of using the mirror. This arrangement ensures that they won't bother me unless necessary. Furthermore, Li Tongya and Li Xiangping are still wary of the mirror due to its mysterious origins. In time, the mirror will evolve into a revered ancestral artifact for the Li family, ensuring both its sanctity and reverence within the family. Liu Jiangxian's divine sense slowly ascended into the sky, feeling the strong pull coming from Moongaze Lake nearby. His heart thrummed with anticipation. What will we discover this time? In the courtyard, preparations were underway. After Li Tongya and the rest arranged the spirit rice and fruits for the ritual, Li Xiangping began explaining to him in detail about the formation on Mountain Meiche, and the two quietly consolidated their plans. Li Tongya gazed at the 12 runes on the mirror, all glowing with a soft white light. Since I've already invoked the Supreme Yin Profound Light, but haven't yet utilized it, I could test it out on the formation on Mountain Meiche. After thorough deliberation, the two respectfully took leave with the mirror and headed toward Mount Meiche. Mount Meiche and Mount Lijing were essentially two peaks of the same mountain, but they had been managed separately for centuries. Mount Meiche fell under the governance of Jingyang Village, while Mount Lijing was under Lijing Village's control. Consequently, the villages viewed them as distinct mountains. Using the divine movement spell on their legs, Li Xiangping and Li Tongya reached Mount Meiche in just an hour. Gazing at the small hill Li Xiangping was pointing to from a distance that Li Yeshing had been efficient. After only one night, timber and stones were already placed on the hillside. He had already marked the foundations and enclosed fertile plots. Li Tongya channeled his spiritual sense into the mirror. The artifact levitated, emitting a brilliant white light that cut through the darkness and landed precisely on the hillside. Liu Jiangxian could feel the supreme, profound light striking a thin barrier in the void. Unlike the previous occasion when it annihilated a demon, he felt a slight resistance from the barrier against the supreme, profound light. Pub Future adds, although the spiritual power of this formation is strong, it lacks in quality. The pure white supreme, profound light relentlessly pushed against the barrier on the hillside. Ripples appeared out of thin air, and after a brief moment, a pale, golden formation finally revealed itself. A golden light suddenly spilled from the corners of the formation. However, these wisps of golden light seemed to dissolve like snow under the sun when faced with the supreme, profound light, unable to mount any substantial defense. The formation flickered momentarily before being completely extinguished under the overwhelming force. Boom! The hill shook, finally revealing a stone cave bathed in a faint, illuminating glow. Inside, shadows of various artifacts were barely noticeable. A wave of rich spiritual qi poured out from the cave, invigorating Li Tongya and Li Xiangping as their eyes alight with excitement. The white light from the floating mirror gradually dimmed, and the 12 runes around its frame faded one after another. As the mirror returned to Li Tongya's hands, Li Tongya cautiously looked around the cave entrance and then told Li Xiangping, "I'll return the mirror first, then we can plan further." "All right," Li Xiangping nodded, adding quickly, "And remember to bring a lamb along." Li Tongya gave him a nod, then activated the divine movement spell and swiftly descended the mountain. Left alone, Li Xiangping sat contemplatively, his gaze fixed on the newly uncovered cave entrance. Miles away, aboard the Dawn Cloudliner, Li Chaijing felt the profound pearl talisman seed within his Qihai acupoint stir. An image of his second brother, Li Tongya, standing before a stone platform with eyes closed, flashed in his mind. Second brother has broken through to the Jade capital stage. He raised his gaze, peering through the Dawn Cloudliner's translucent interior at the distant cloud-veiled Mount Dali, with a gentle smile on his face. Gripping the Qi Jade bottle he had requested from his senior brother before leaving, Li Chaijing secured it with a red rope around the bottle's neck, tying it around his waist. Such a dermic artifact typically could not be kept in a storage pouch and had to be carried personally. "Jinga, when we reach the Mushroom Forest Plain, I'll arrange for my clan brothers to escort you to Mount Dali. The Dawn Cloudliner will dock at the Mushroom Forest Plain for 3 days to collect the tributes. Just make sure you return within that time." Yuan spoke softly with a smile. "I will." "Thank you, senior sister." Li Chaijing expressed his gratitude, his heart filled with eager anticipation. Chapter 56. Exploration. Li Tongya quickly returned, cradling a bleeding white lamb. As darkness enveloped Mount Meiche, the two brothers exchanged nods. Li Tongya then released the lamb toward the cave's entrance. Ba-ba. The lamb's bleats echoed faintly as it shakily tried to come out of the cave. "Go in." Li Xiangping turned it around and smacked its rear with a branch. The lamb finally ventured deeper into the cave while bleating loudly. The brothers waited, listening to the lamb's distant bleats, before cautiously proceeding into the cave themselves. The tunnel was spacious enough for two to walk side by side. The air was not really stale, but it was rather dim inside. As they proceeded further into the cave, the air turned noticeably denser with spiritual qi. Upon entering the cave, they were greeted by an expansive hall. Its walls were fashioned from finely cut blue rocks, and the hall was illuminated by the soft glow of night pearls hanging from the rocky ceiling, allowing them to make out the condition of the room. The air was rich with spiritual qi, creating a thick, comfortable atmosphere. The marvel of it stirred an eagerness for them to immediately pause and meditate. The cave's floor was etched with faint golden formation runes, converging toward a small aperture in the center from which spiritual qi gently emanated. Adjacent to this point lay a futon, positioned next to several dusty stone shelves that stood bare. Xianping's gaze swept across the room, eventually settling on a stone table accompanied by several green jade stools with nothing on them. This caused a sense of disappointment to wash over him. It seems as if this place has been thoroughly cleared out, almost as if it's been robbed. Opposite the hall, 3 stone doors were set into the wall. With a gentle nudge from the lamb, one of the doors opened. Li Tongya sent the lamb through first, then cautiously entered the first room alongside Li Xianping. The interior was spacious, illuminated by night pearls that hung from the ceiling. Stone shelves lined the walls, but were bare except for layers of dust and piles of unrecognizable, decayed ash. Exchanging a glance, Li Tongya and Li Xianping wordlessly agreed to proceed to the next stone door. This cave is really empty. Maybe its owner had abandoned it. Li Tongya commented. Xianping nodded, observing somberly as they approached the second door. You're right. Even if that cultivator had died outside this cave, some items ought to remain. The fact that it's been so carefully cleaned out suggests that the previous owner intentionally planned to leave, likely taking important items like jade slips and pills with them in a storage pouch. Beyond the second stone door lay a room with 7 or 8 stone platforms, each bearing a few white jade bottles. Li Tongya and Li Xianping meticulously inspected each bottle, finding them either filled with pills that had lost their spiritual qi or entirely empty. And on the stone platform were the remains of several black ash piles, their original form beyond recognition. At its center lay a hexagonal jade plate, intricately engraved with talisman runes. However, it was already shattered with its fragments strewn across the floor. Li Xianping picked up a piece of the fragment and realized that it was still warm. Both Li Tongya and Li Xianping were torn between laughter and frustration as they realized that there was nothing useful inside. This looks like the formation plate one Yuan Kai told me about before, Li Tongya mused. Upon seeing Li Xianping's inquisitive look, he elaborated. Formation flags and formation plates were used to set up formations. Unlike formation flags, which rely on the cultivator's knowledge of formation and diagrams, formation plates are limited to setting up a single type of formation, predetermined by the engraved formation diagram on it. They're less versatile, but are easy to use and do not require much formation knowledge, as long as one knows how to channel their spiritual qi into it. However, once the formation is broken, the plate disintegrates and is rendered useless. In contrast, as long as formation flags remain intact and undamaged, they can be reused to reset the formation. I see. This formation plate should be the defensive formation of this cave, then. Our use of the Supreme In Profound Light destroyed the cave's defensive formation, causing this formation plate to shatter into pieces, Li Xianping said with a nod. They returned to the hall, and Li Tongya cautiously let the lamb enter the third stone room ahead of them. Inside, they found a decrepit stone bed with a decayed cushion and a small jade bottle at its head. Li Xianping carefully opened a lid, but there was nothing else inside apart from the faint scent of the pill that was once in it. However, Li Tongya's keen eyes discovered a slender jade green bottle and a piece of white cloth filled with small writing on the bed. This discovery brought them some relief. At least we found something. Li Xianping chuckled. That's not all, Li Tongya corrected with a shake of his head. This cave, along with its central formation and that little aperture emitting spiritual qi, are already significant finds. We've gotten hold of a cave with nearly 40% more spiritual qi than the outside world without running into any traps or harm. That itself is reason for contentment. Li Xianping nodded in agreement, then turned his attention to the white cloth and the slender jade bottle in Li Tongya's hands. Li Tongya carefully unfolded the cloth and began reading aloud. Greetings from Chiwei. The target has reached Moongaze Lake. The cultivators sent by our sect have surrounded the area. Please act swiftly. The requested Flaming Sunrise Technique Manual has been dispatched to you. The spirit jade and fire crystals will be delivered to your cave after resolving this matter. Be wary of the target. They are formidable. Should you encounter them unprepared, retreat toward the Azurpon sect and alert us immediately. The cryptic nature of the message left them more puzzled than informed. They put away the cloth and turned their attention to the slender green jade bottle. They shook the bottle, revealing its warmth and apparent emptiness. Li Xianping carefully removed the lid, but indeed, he found nothing inside. Li Tongya, using his spiritual sense to probe the bottle, exclaimed in surprise. This is a Dharma artifact. He knitted his eyebrows. After scrutinizing it for a moment, he commented with uncertainty, "It seems to be a specialized storage vessel containing an intense fire-like spiritual qi. That explains why I can't pour anything out." Li Xiaoping nodded, then looked somewhat puzzled. Could it contain the spiritual qi of heaven and earth that is used to break through the embryonic breathing realm? Regardless, it's of no use to us right now, so we'll keep it safe first. Li Tongya stowed the jade bottle away in his chest pocket. After a thorough examination of every nook and cranny in the cave, the two led the lamb out. Ai Yeshing was busy leading the villagers of Jingyang village in preparing the hillside's foundation. They steered clear of the cave entrance, but upon seeing Li Tongya and Li Xiaoping emerge, Li Yeshing's face lit up with relief. "I spotted this cave at dawn and sent someone over to get you two from Mount Lijing. I wasn't expecting you guys to beat me to it," he said with a smile. Handing over the lamb to Li Yeshing, Li Xiaoping discussed the logistics for building a courtyard on the hill. After their conversation, he and Li Tongya returned to Mount Lijing. The spiritual qi brimming in the cave is superior to Mount Lijing. "We should station someone there to keep watch," Li Xiaoping commented in a hushed tone as they walked. "You're right." Li Tongya nodded in agreement and suggested, "Let's bring Li Chuyang back. Xian and I will oversee Mount Meiche. This place will provide a conducive cultivation environment for him and help him reach greater heights in the future." Chapter 57. Return. The Dawn Cloudliner flew at a very fast speed above the lush mushroom forest plain. Within 2 hours, it gracefully descended onto a cloud-shrouded misty peak with a beautiful pavilion. Following Yuan Tuan, Li Cheijing alighted from the Dawn Cloudliner and was immediately greeted by a group of white and blue-robed cultivators bowing and greeting in unison. "Welcome, immortal envoys." "There's no need for formalities," Yuan Tuan replied with a gentle smile. Descending the stone steps, a middle-aged robed man awaited her at the base, turning respectfully to Li Cheijing and saying, "Greetings, disciple of the upper sect. I am Yuan Huyuan of the Yuan family from the Mushroom Forest Plain." "I am Li Cheijing of the Li family from Moongaze Lake," he replied, adhering to customary introductions that mentioned the region they were from for clarity, since the Yuan and Li families were not from the same prefecture. Yuan Tuan gave him a subtle nod and said, "Yuan Huyuan is my elder clan brother. I've already told him about you." "Thank you, senior sister," Li Cheijing said before joining Yuan Huyuan on the Yuan family's flying shuttle. After bidding farewell to Yuan Tuan, they headed west. Noticing Yuan Huyuan's silence during the flight, Li Cheijing attempted to initiate a conversation with a smile. "Senior, my senior sister referred to you as her elder clan brother, yet you appear old enough to be her father or grandfather. Is that what you wanted to say?" Yuan Huyuan chuckled. "Qi cultivators age slowly due to their longer lifespan. My younger clan sister attained the Qi cultivation realm at the age of 18 and looks like she's only in her 20s. Unfortunately, I'm not as gifted. I only managed to attain the Qi cultivation realm last year. That's why I look middle-aged." "Ah, I see." Li Cheijing's curiosity was piqued as he inquired further. "So, the younger the Qi cultivator looks, the more we shouldn't underestimate them?" "That's not always the case," Yuan Huyuan explained. "While Qi cultivators enjoy a 200-year lifespan, their appearance does age, although more slowly. It's common for a 40-year-old cultivator to look 20. However, those who appear elderly are often formidable. They're cultivators who have been cultivating for over a century, yet hesitant to advance to the foundation establishment realm and prefer to linger at the peak of the Qi cultivation realm." Noting Li Cheijing's thoughtful expression, Yuan Huyuan added with a hint of amusement, "In our world, judging solely by appearance can be misleading. I learned that the hard way in my early years and nearly paid dearly for it." The cool morning breeze tugged at the corners of Li Cheijing's robes, causing it to rustle. As they traveled on Yuan Huyuan's shuttle, which was notably slower than Yuan Bai's, they engaged in light conversation about recent happenings in the immortal cultivation world. After approximately 4 hours, the shimmering expanse of Moongaze Lake finally came into view. Ai Cheijing instructed Yuan Huyuan to land near Lichuanku village by the lake, then bid him farewell with a grateful smile. "I'll be here waiting for your return 3 days later at the Hour of the Tiger, fellow Taoist." Yuan Huyuan acknowledged his instruction, then promptly ascended to the sky in his shuttle. Ai Cheijing activated the wind riding spell, then glided toward Lichuanku village. He noticed a young boy, around 6 or 7 years old, squatting at the village entrance in the distance. The child was meticulously sharpening an ebony arrowhead on a stone, and a bunch of arrows laid beside his feet. Upon noticing Li Cheijing, the child's expression shifted from bewilderment to respect. Standing up, he greeted, "Immortal Master, you've entered the territory of the Li family under the governance of Azure Pond Sect. Gully Road lies a few miles to the east." Li Cheijing chuckled, observing the child's features before asking, "Who is Chun Erniu to you?" "He's my father," the boy replied, his face lighting up. "I am Chindonga. Let me fetch my daddy for you." Li Cheijing dismissed the offer with a wave and vanished down the stone path. Inside the Chun residence, Chun Erniu, clad in a leather jacket, was leisurely sipping tea with his guest, Han Wen-su. Yes, they conversed. Han Wen-shu remarked with a hint of amusement. Old Chun, you really have a strange naming convention. All your 5 sons are named after either a river or a lake. The Chun family is considered a prominent family now, yet you still maintain the simplicity of a fisherman. Before Chin Erniu could respond, the courtyard door creaked open. A young man, dressed in a pristine white feather robe and blue boots, entered with an air of composure. He greeted Han Wen-shu warmly. Master Han, it's been a long time. Then, turning to Chin Erniu, he remarked softly, it's been only a few years. You look like you've been eating well, Uncle Chun. Chin Erniu appeared to be taken aback by the comment. He scrutinized the young man's face for a moment before exclaiming, it's you, Li Che? I mean, a mortal master. Yingya. Han Wen-shu, who had mentored the 4 brothers of the Li family, greeted Li Che Jing affectionately out of habit. Upon realizing his misconduct, he quickly lowered his head and fell silent. Li Che Jing waved reassuringly and then said, take me to my older brothers, please. The young chief is likely on Mountain Lijing. As for the immortal master, I believe he's been frequenting Mount Meiche lately. Chan Erniu replied. Li Xianping was cultivating in the front yard when he heard a bunch of footsteps on the stone steps. He frowned and called out, Yeshing, is that you? The response was a burst of familiar hearty laughter. A striking young man came through the doorway, with a meter-long sword at his waist. The white tassel that hung from its hilt swayed gracefully with his movement. I returned to the village only to find that our family had moved up the mountain long ago. So I asked Brother Yeshing to guide me through the formation to ascend the mountain. The youth explained, shaking his head with a grin and then commenting, Tisk, that Misty Maze formation is really something. Yingya. Li Xianping blinked in astonishment and asked, aren't you cultivating in the sect? Li Zhejing Lauga Fartili. I'm on the verge of breaking through to the Qi cultivation realm, so I took a leave from the sect to visit home. I'll go get father. Li Xianping exclaimed. Mutian rushed to the front yard. The 3 of them sat down, and before long, Li Tongya and Li Xianxian joined them as well. Youngest uncle, Li Xianxian, not having seen Li Che-jing for years, embraced him enthusiastically, while Li Tongya looked on with a joyful smile. The family gathered in a whirl of excitement, while their mother shed tears of happiness. They prepared a lavish feast, introducing Li Che-jing to new family members like Li Qiuyang and Lu Rochuan. The evening was spent savoring snake gall wine that had been preserved for many years until late into the night. After Li Qiuyang and the others left, the Li family gathered around a tea table in the backyard. No one was drunk. The snake gall wine was rich in spiritual qi, yet not intoxicating. Besides, none of them overindulged since there were other agendas on their mind. Li Che-jing was amazed as he listened to the updates on the family's progress over the years from his older brothers. Taking a sip of tea, he addressed them with a serious demeanor. I came back this time for an important reason. Otherwise, I wouldn't have hurried back while I'm on the verge of breaking through to the Qi cultivator realm. He squinted at the stone platform in the house, then suggested, let's continue our talk inside. Once in the house, Li Che-jing stood silently. Captivated by the moonlight that was pouring through the roof window, he gazed at the moonlight that had gathered on the mirror and performed a hand seal before carefully scrutinizing it. He felt the 6th nascent spirit chakra within his Shenyang mansion stir, quickening the flow of his mana. Withdrawing his hand, his expression mingled with disbelief as he had just validated his suspicion, and he slowly uttered, Supreme Een Moonlight? Chapter 58. Supreme Een Moonlight. Supreme Een Moonlight. White as frost and fluid as water, shining bright when full and dim when not. I knew it, Li Che-jing exclaimed in awe. For centuries, the cultivators in Yu State have coveted it. Over 300 years, only 5 have been discovered. Each was carefully collected by cultivators in the Foundation establishment and even Purple Mansion realms. One elevated the Master of Moon Lake Peak to Purple Mansion realm centuries ago. Another was refined into the Azure Pond Sect Master's Frosty Absolute Sword. 2 were secured in the treasure reserves after a battle involving 3 gates, while the last nearly wiped out the Snow G Gate, one of the 7 gates, due to intense competition for its possession. Li Che-jing gulped and then whispered, his voice barely above a murmur. It's such a precious supreme Een Moonlight, yet my family used it to condense the profound scenery chakra. He paused, pondering deeply, before bursting into a hearty laugh. Liu Jiangxian listened intently to Li Che-jing, his unease growing. The Moonlight Origin Mansion has vanished from the secular world for years. These supreme Een Moonlights have been extolled and coveted, while immortal cultivators claiming to be disciples from that immortal mansion were ambushed and killed by cultivators from the 3 sects and 7 gates at Moongaze Lake. This mirror, Iman, is linked to the supreme Een Moonlight. This is surely part of a greater conspiracy. As the conviction in his heart grew stronger, Liu Jiangxian resolved to stay hidden in the mountains since an artifact spirit like himself would not succumb to old age. He was going to continue observing the situation while waiting for the cultivators in the Li family to become stronger until he almost completed his own repairs. Time passes swiftly. A month feels like a mere blink of an eye. I'll survive for 500 years without fail and continue to rely on the Li family, using them as my eyes and ears to gather information about the Moonlight Origin Mansion while I simply focus on survival. Back on the ground, Li Chejing was still chuckling. He glanced at his family and explained, "This mirror can condense supreme in moonlight, one of the spiritual qi essential for qi cultivation. It's far more precious than pine forest wind or golden autumn lake." After Li Chejing explained the bloody conflicts sparked by the supreme in moonlight's appearances over the centuries, his family finally grasped the true value of the supreme in moonlight. A delighted smile spread across Li Xuanxuan's face before it turned into a frown. If the supreme in moonlight is as precious as what youngest uncle says, and the cultivators of the Foundation establishment and Purple Mansion realms are after it, we must guard this secret closely. We shouldn't reveal it, let alone consider selling it, he said in his youthful voice. That's right. Li Xiaoping nodded proudly when he heard Li Xuanxuan's wise suggestion. With a hint of concern evident in his voice, he said, "We don't possess any techniques to refine qi using the supreme in moonlight, so we can't use it either. It's like sitting on a mountain of treasure, but being unable to benefit from it." The group was aware of the supreme in moonlight's value, but only Li Chejing truly understood the potential turmoil their discovery could incite. That he frowned and replied, "Only a handful of qi cultivation methods can harness the supreme in moonlight, and they're all closely guarded by the 3 sects and 7 gates. I could attempt to learn the Moon Lake Autumn Reflection technique, but I would be required to take a profound scenery spiritual oath to never reveal its secrets." Li Muqian, who had been silent, finally spoke up, his tone laced with skepticism. "Are you really going to learn that Moon Lake Autumn Reflection technique? It's a grade 5 cultivation method." Li Chejing's face betrayed a mix of desire and hesitation. He opened his mouth again, but then said nothing as he grappled with the implications of such a decision. The room fell into a thoughtful silence, broken only by Li Xuanxuan's earnest voice. "That cultivation method sounds really impressive. Of course, you're going to learn it." Li Muqian gently patted Li Xuanxuan's head and asked, "Then how should Jinger explain all this to the immortal sect?" Li Xianxian tilted his head to the side, then mumbled, "Youngest uncle can tell them that he got lucky at Moongaze Lake during his trip home this time. What can the immortal sect do? If 5 had appeared over the past centuries, why can't he be the one who found the 6th? Li Xiaoping crouched down and ruffled Li Xuanxuan's hair, asking softly, "And why would Jur suddenly return right now when he's on the verge of breaking through to the qi cultivation realm, only to so conveniently find this opportunity at Moongaze Lake during his brief visit? Jinner, dealing with the immortal sect isn't like managing our villagers. Our villagers obey us because they don't understand the complexities of immortal cultivation. They fear us, so they never question our orders." Holding Li Xuanxuan's hand, Li Xiaoping gazed intently into the boy's eyes and continued, "To the immortal sect, our family is insignificant, very much like ants. The slightest hint of suspicion from them can spell disaster for us. They have the power to upend our lives to seize what they desire and maybe even wipe out our entire family. Therefore, we must be extremely careful when we deal with them. We must think through every action and scenario. There's no room for doubt or error. As the head of a family, you must understand not only how to lead your people, but also how to flatter those above, while strategically balancing relationships for the family's advantage." Li Xianxian absorbed the wisdom in Li Xiaoping's words. Nodding thoughtfully, Li Mutian withdrew his gaze from the two with a satisfied look on his face, then cleared his throat and said, "Tonya, you discovered a mysterious jade bottle in a cave, right? What if we swap the qi inside with the supreme in moonlight and tell them that our family had discovered this qi in that cave years ago, so we summoned you home to take a look at it? Do you think the immortal sect will believe this explanation?" Li Chejing pondered deeply before responding. "There's a good chance they will believe it. I'd say maybe 70 to 80%. The sect will likely send someone to investigate the cave. If it appears ancient, possibly over 300 years old, our credibility could rise to 80 or 90%. Upon hearing this, Li Xiaoping eagerly asked, "Would the Azure Pond sect send a powerful cultivator of the Purple Mansion realm over just to investigate the cave? Absolutely not. There are only a handful of cultivators in the Purple Mansion realm within the sect. Even when the master of Moon Lake Peak first discovered Supreme in Moonlight, when he was only a cultivator of the embryonic breathing realm, the sect only sent a cultivator in the Qi cultivation realm to retrieve the remains of that immortal cultivator." Li Chejing replied confidently. After a moment of contemplation, he relaxed slightly and added, "No one would expect there to be a mirror capable of continuously condensing Supreme in Moonlight, or that 2 Supreme in Moonlights could manifest simultaneously in one place. The sect will only send someone to conduct routine searches for any leads regarding the Moonlight Origin Mansion. In retrospect, perhaps we're being too cautious. It's decided then. Li Tongya nodded, retrieving the slender jade bottle from the shelf and passing it to Li Cheijing. I Cheijing inspected the bottle thoughtfully, comparing it against his mental catalog of spiritual qi of heaven and earth. After a moment, he said, "This probably contains fire baleful qi, usually harvested from volcanoes. It's not particularly rare in Yu State, and is often used to craft spiritual artifacts." Li Cheijing retrieved the white jade bottle hanging at his waist, then performed a hand seal to extract the brownish-gray qi from the slender jade green bottle, transferring it to his own white jade bottle, then passed it to Li Tongya for safekeeping. Holding the empty jade green bottle, Li Cheijing turned his attention to the supreme Yin moonlight on the mirror next. He performed another hand seal to activate a qi-absorbing technique. The supreme Yin moonlight flowed into the slender jade bottle like water. As the last of it filled the bottle, he sealed it with a spirit sealing technique. Observing the little sparkles of moonlight reconverging on the mirror, Li Cheijing said, "Come, let's visit the cave." Chapter 59. Spiritual Talisman Method. Li Cheijing wandered around the cave, tracing the faintly glowing golden runes of the formation at the heart of the hall with his finger. He spoke with uncertainty. "My master only taught me some basic talisman techniques. Most of my training in the sect focuses on swordsmanship, so my understanding of formations is rather limited. This pattern doesn't seem to align with the typical formations found in Yu State. It appears to be designed to mainly gather and nourish qi. The spirit I releasing this qi appears to be a natural formation, later enhanced with a formation to stabilize it. With the spirit eye's influence, the spiritual qi in this cave is about 40 to 50% richer than the outside," he added. After meticulously recording the formation diagram, Li Cheijing scrutinized the cave's interior. Finding no hidden passages or secret chambers, he finally approached the stone table and studied the white cloth laid upon it. "Greetings from Chiwei. The target has reached Moongaze Lake. The cultivators sent by our sect have surrounded the area. Please act swiftly. The requested Flaming Sunrise Technique Manual has been dispatched to you. The spirit jade and fire crystals will be delivered to your cave after resolving this matter. Be wary of the target. They are formidable. Should you encounter them unprepared, retreat toward the Azure Pond sect and alert us immediately." I Cheijing pondered over the message for a moment with a thoughtful expression. With a conflicted look on his face, he mused. This person was probably among those who sought to kill the disciple from the Immortal Mansion. He seemed to be aware of the risks involved in this and cleared out his cave dwelling. The great battle occurred at the foot of Mount Dali. I did some digging after joining the sect, but the records I found were surprisingly vague and provided only a few details. Li Xiangping's interest was piqued. "What did you find in the Azure Pond sect?" he asked eagerly. Li Cheijing's frown deepened as he replied solemnly. "In the 7th month of autumn, Li Jiangquan, a rogue cultivator who claimed possession of the Moonlight Origin Mansion's true art, declared that the Immortal Mansion had been destroyed. Consequently, the 3 sects and 7 gates were ordered to besiege and kill him at Moongaze Lake. While Li Tongya and the others were still processing the information, Lu Jiangxian, who had been observing them from Mount Lijing, felt a chill run down his spine. He was left dazed and disoriented as if struck by lightning. The moonlight in his mirror fluctuated, threatening to dim as his mind was rendered a complete blank. Li Jiangxian. The name echoed in his ears like a shrill whistle, overwhelming his 6 senses. A blinding white light then flooded his vision. That name sounds so familiar. Visions of shiny swords, spells, talismans, flying arrows, and the brilliance of Dharma artifacts danced before his eyes, overwhelming him until he collapsed in anguish. The mirror, floating in midair, quivered before gently descending onto the stone platform. In the cave dwelling on Mount Meiche, Li Xiangping's brow furrowed in confusion. If Li Jiangquan really acquired the true art of the Immortal Mansion, why did he claim that it had been destroyed? And considering that he's supposed to be the rightful successor, why would they come after him at Moongaze Lake? Li Cheijing shook his head and said, "The situation is more complex than it seems, possibly a conspiracy between the 3 sects and 7 gates. I fear that delving deeper into this matter could endanger our family. Let's not discuss this any further." He abruptly changed the subject and asked, "By the way, does our family possess any legacies in the 100 arts of immortal cultivation?" "None," Li Tongya replied, shaking his head. "Such legacies are rare. The Wan family offered to trade a set of formation legacies, but it requires the use of our family's mirror." After a moment of contemplation, Li Cheijing retrieved a jade slip from his storage pouch. "The talisman technique I inherited from the sect is known as the 6 Stems Talisman Art. I'm bound by the profound scenery spiritual oath, so I cannot reveal it. Fortunately, my master also provided me with the legacy of a rogue cultivator for reference while he was teaching me the talisman art, which I'm free to share with my family." Li Tongya and Li Xiangping happily accepted the jade slip. It's called the Spiritual Talisman Method, and it includes the methods for making 12 talismans of the embryonic breathing realm and 3 of the Qi cultivation realm. They're not very advanced, but are useful common talismans, Li Chaijing explained. Smiling, he took out some talisman paper from his storage pouch and continued. To draw talismans, you will need 3 items: talisman paper, talisman brush, and spirit ink. Talisman papers are usually made from spirit plants. I recommend looking for seeds and planting your own spirit plants so that you don't need to buy blank talisman papers from the market. The talisman brush is a type of Dharma artifact. I don't have a spare one with me, so you'll have to get one from the market. As for the talisman ink, Li Chaijing clapped the brocade pouch on his waist, then pulled out a small jade box. I have some to start you off. Once you've run out of it, you'll have to get more from the market. If the prices are too steep, a mix of cinnabar powder and spirit blood can also be used to draw talismans. Li Xiangping accepted the small jade box and smiled wryly. This talisman craft does seem costly. I fear our family lacks the resources for it right now. Li Chaijing waved dismissively, then pointed to a white jade bottle and said with a chuckle, "The fire baleful qi is considered a rare commodity in Yu State. Since it's not useful for our family right now, selling it should cover your costs and leave some profit." Li Xiangping nodded in agreement and added, "I heard there's a market on Moongaze Lake which could be ideal for this. Given the fire baleful qi's value, if you two were to handle this, you might attract unwanted attention. Since tomorrow is a full moon, I'll handle this personally as a disciple of the Azure Pond sect." After a thorough discussion, the group finalized their plan. Aware that time was of the essence for Li Chaijing, they promptly departed for Moongaze Lake. With the divine movement spell, Li Tongya and Li Xiangping conjured a breeze with each step. Li Chaijing, however, was even more graceful, seemingly stepping on the wind itself, his speed surpassing that of his older brothers. Watching him, Li Tongya and Li Xiangping could not help but feel a touch of envy as they progressed. The shimmering expanse of Moongaze Lake came into view. For Li Xiangping, it had been over a decade since his last visit. "I remember coming here with second brother to collect the jade from the lake. We were barely 15 or 16 then. Now, we've started our own families and even have children of our own." Li Xiangping reminisced, gazing at the stars above. A wave of nostalgia washed over him. The past 10 years seemed like a dream, the memories floating like clouds in his mind. It was as though he was back on that moonlit night, waiting in the reeds by the lake for Li Tongya's return. "How time flies," Li Tongya agreed softly. They scoured the lake's edge. With their spiritual sense, Li Chaijing and Li Tongya finally detected a spot on the shore where mana subtly fluctuated, matching the description in the Lixia secret note. Following the instructions in the Lixia secret note, left by Si Yuanbai, they picked up a pebble, cast the golden light spell on it, and then hurled it toward the lake center. The stone soared before plunging sharply, triggering the hidden spell formation in the air. A brief flash of silver light revealed the formation before it vanished. "The formation's activation should soon bring a boat to meet us," Li Tongya said. The 3 brothers waited in silence on the shore. As time ticked on, their anxiety grew. If we miss this chance, dealing with the fire baleful qi will be a whole lot trickier. Chapter 60. Purchases. After the brothers waited for quite a while, they ended up chatting on the shore, sharing amusing stories of their childhood. It was then they finally saw a faint silver light emerging from the heart of the lake. Could that be the boat we're waiting for? In the distance, a wooden longboat sailed toward them. The sails were adorned with white feathers, and the boat itself radiated with a spiritual light, presenting itself as a fine treasure. Right before the boat reached the shore, a friendly voice called out, "Fellow Taoists, are you heading to the Moongaze Lake Market? You're a little late, aren't you?" "Yes, that's right," Li Chaijing responded, adding apologetically, "It's our first visit to this market, and we weren't aware of the timings." "Haha, no worries, fellow Taoists." The boatman laughed heartily as he steered his boat closer to the shore. Li Chaijing stepped forward, his spiritual sense on alert as he eyed the boatman with a hint of mistrust. "Are you here to take us to the market?" he asked cautiously. The man chuckled when he saw Li Chaijing and the other men watching him cautiously instead of boarding the boat. "Yes, it's a gene of spirit rice, or an equivalent spirit item per person as fare." Relieved by the straightforward request, Li Chaijing clapped his brocade pouch, and a light blue token flew out of it. The token hovered in midair, projecting the words, "Qing Sui Peak of the Azure Pond Sect." Li Chaijing introduced himself. "I am Li Chaijing, a disciple from Qing Sui Peak of the Azure Pond Sect. I'm on an important mission right now. Thank you for the ride." The boat rocked slightly as the man on board paused, seemingly recognizing the significance of the token. An elderly man with white hair then emerged, bowing respectfully. "Our apologies for any disrespect. As a disciple of the Immortal Sect, you are most welcome aboard." Li Chaijing nodded and stepped onto the boat with his 2 brothers. Inside the cabin, there were tea tables complete with tea sets. The antique interior and decor exuded an air of wealth and refined taste. The elderly man apologized again. "Forgive my hesitation earlier. Without a familiar face from the market among your group, I was quite apprehensive about coming out to welcome you. Seeing the token from your immortal sect finally put my mind at ease." Li Xiangping returned the smile and said, It's perfectly understandable. The old man offered a piece of advice. Next time, try to arrive around the hour of the rat. That's when most neighboring clans come. It's the best time for trading spirit rice and other items. I see. The brothers continued talking with the elderly man for some time before the boat suddenly jolted, followed by noises emanating from the cabin. Peering out the window, they saw the market of Moongaze Lake. The market was built on a small island within the lake. It was not that big, just about the size of half a village. The streets were lined with small lamps that were glowing white. Despite the late hour, the market bustled with activity. Shoppers lingered at stalls, haggling with vendors over various goods. No need to pay the fares, I can't possibly accept them. The old boatman docked the boat, but firmly refused the spirit rice Li Chejing offered from his storage pouch. No matter how Li Chejing insisted, he refused to accept the fare. The brothers bid farewell to the boatman, then excitedly strolled down the market streets. Li Tongya examined the wares, comparing them to those he saw in the market of Cloud Crown Peak. The items are similar, but here, most prices are in spirit rice. The goods are more often sold in bulk. The spells and techniques are sold individually, rather than sold by an entire volume. As he pondered this, Li Chujing's chuckle drew his attention. The items sold at the stalls are a mix of quality. To find what we need, we should head to a counter. Li Tongya fell silent, recalling his exhaustive day at the market of Cloud Crown Peak. He had only walked around at the time. The group continued, and the stalls gradually became fewer as storefronts appeared. Li Chejing looked around for a bit, then chose a Dharma artifact shop and stepped inside. Ask your owner if he's interested in buying fire baleful chi, he said to the shopkeeper who greeted them. Upon seeing that Li Chejing had turned his attention to the various Dharma artifacts displayed on the wall after saying that, the shopkeeper snapped out of his daze and hurried off. Soon, a topless burly man rushed into the shop from the backyard. The many iron weapons he carried clanked as he quickly walked up to them. Fellow Taoist, you heard news of the fire baleful chi? He asked. The man's chin was covered by stubble. Despite his rugged appearance, he had a gentle voice. Yes, I am Li Chejing from the Azurpan sect, and I have a fire baleful chi to sell, Li Chejing responded. Ah, a disciple of an immortal sect. The man cupped his fist and smiled. I am Chu Minglian, the owner of this small shop. How much are you selling your fire baleful chi for? Li Chejing raised an eyebrow, then replied, 70 spirit stones, preferably to be traded with items, if possible. Li Xiangping and Li Tongya, known for their frugal nature and habit of making the most out of every spirit stone, stared at Li Chejing with wide eyes, then at Chu Minglian with eager anticipation. Chu Minglian shook his head and said with a smile, That's a bit steep. Is there anything in my shop that interests you? Talisman brushes. Without much time to spare, Li Chejing did not bother to beat around the bush and got straight to the point. He pointed to the 2 talisman brushes on the wall and asked, Could you tell me more about them? Absolutely. Chu Minglian nodded, taking down the 2 brushes. He picked up the blue one and explained, This is made from spirit blue jade and the tail fur of a weasel monster at peak embryonic breathing realm. It's suitable for cultivators in both the embryonic breathing realm and chi cultivation realm. The price is 15 spirit stones. Chu Minglian set aside the first talisman brush and picked up another with a cream-colored brush. This brush is made from burning spirit wood and the tail fur of a fox demon in the chi cultivation realm. It's designed for cultivators in the chi cultivation realm and above. The price is 60 spirit stones. Li Chejing waved his hand, then pointed to the brush made of spirit blue jade and said, I'll take this one, and 1 storage pouch, the common one suited for cultivators in the chi cultivation realm. Chu Minglian retrieved a brownish-gray pouch from a shelf and announced, This pouch has a capacity of a cubic meter and costs 30 spirit stones. After some negotiation, Chu Minglian agreed to trade the 2 Dharma artifacts and 20 spirit stones for the fire baleful chi. Exiting the shop with a new storage pouch and a talisman brush, Li Chejing immediately entered another store without giving Li Xiangping and Li Tongya a chance to express any reservations. He pointed at a stack of tawny talisman papers and said, 300 sheets of talisman paper of the embryonic breathing realm for 10 spirit stones. These are made from mugwort wood, correct? Yes, the shopkeeper promptly responded, recognizing Li Chejing's expertise. After exchanging 10 spirit stones for the papers and stowing them away in the new brocade pouch, Li Chejing passed the storage pouch to Li Xiangping, then mumbled to himself, talisman brush, talisman papers, and pouch. We still have 10 spirit stones left. How should we spend the rest of them? Overhearing this, Li Xiangping and Li Tongya looked at each other before Li Xiangping quickly interjected. Let's save the remaining spirit stones for emergencies at home. Li Chejing nodded in agreement. As the market's crowd began to dwindle, he stretched his body and smiled in satisfaction. Is there anything else we need for the family?